Hi, guys. I'm so glad you tuned into the Healing with Me show tonight. I hope you guys had a incredible week. I know I did. I had so many amazing things that happened this week. And God gave me a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of people and be a vessel of hope for so many this week. This past week, it was incredible. We're actually back on tour. The Healing and Deliverance tour is back on. We were in Rochester a few weeks ago, and this past weekend we was in Little Rock, Arkansas, at the Triumph Deliverance congregation in Little Rock, and it was amazing. It was so incredible what God did. God did exactly what He said He was going to do. He came and He delivered some folks. I'm telling you, people were coming to the altar and they were crying out to God, and they were trusting God. They came trusting and believing that He was going to do exactly what His word said, and He said He was going to set the captives free. So I'm so grateful that we were able to go back on tour. And it was our second tour city so far this year. We're looking to add more cities on. But last week also I was working and I was in a lot of different states. I was in North Carolina. Oh my goodness. I was just all over the place last week. And it was just pretty amazing. I was in New York. I was in Long Island. I was in, oh my goodness. I was in so many. I was also in Little Rock doing something with the school board there with the health, those that work with the health system in our public health school system. And that was amazing too, because usually, you meet with the teachers, but you really don't get to meet and spend time with the nurses and all of that. So that was pretty incredible. To spend time and to share some awareness around trauma-informed care. So I just went from state to state to state. I was in Columbia, Missouri, working there, and I was at a conference where everybody that kind of interact with the youth and the whole state was there. It was a statewide conference. So I was just very grateful that God used me in a lot of different ways this past week. I'm looking forward to what He's doing in the coming days. And tomorrow I'll be in Philadelphia. I'm working with a behavioral health facility, Belmont Behavioral Health in Philly tomorrow. So I'll be traveling there. So God continued to send me to different places and work with people that's trying to really understand trauma-informed care. Also, just grateful that He allowed me to be a light in this dark world that seems to be getting darker. So one of the things that I know for sure that I have to do, and I got to remind myself in everything that I do, that I have to remain in Jesus. I have to be connected to the vine. Because if the branch is not connected to the vine, it won't produce fruit. That it'll dry up, it'll die, and it won't produce anything. So the word, John 15:8 said, remain in me and I remained in you. A branch can't produce fruit by itself, but must remain in the vine. Oh my goodness. And my way of remaining in the vine is being very prayerful about everything. In everything I do, I pray about, whatever I'm going to do, what I want to do. I submit my prayer, my request to God. I read the word because I know that is my weapon, and it's also my instruction how to go through life. And finally, my praise and spending time and waiting to listen and hear from God. So my scripture for tonight is John 15:8. Remain in me and I will remain in you. A branch can't produce fruit by itself, but must remain in the vine. I have an incredible guest tonight. He's a very, very good friend of mine. And we spent time training different agencies around the country together. And we became very good friends. And he's very passionate about his work, but he has a story of his own. And David, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, David Washington, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here tonight.
I'm so honored to have you on the show. I have nothing but incredible respect for you as a person and you in your profession. you have an incredible story of how you just, I mean, you talk about where you started and where you're at today, and how you helping so many individuals, especially those that are incarcerated. And so I won't take away from anything. David, I want if you can just tell everybody, tell the audience, a little bit of who you are. You can start where you want to start. Wherever you start, we're going to get to the point where we want people to know how to contact you, because if anybody needs to know anything about trauma-informed care and how to really implement it in any kind of group setting, you do it in a prison setting, you are the one for them to act. So, David, tell us, where did this special man come from?
I came from Hagerstown, Maryland, of all places, and I joke about frequently living in Hagerstown, Maryland, because this was the last stop for Harriet Tubman during her movement to get slaves into freedom. So I've become more and more aware of trauma and its impact on our community, and how God allowed me to be born in this specific part of the United States of America. But how I got, well, I guess starting out with, I was born in a really small town, kind of like a Mayberry, where everybody knew everybody. Born to what I would consider a loving family, a Christian family that was very open to allowing people to come in and have dinner and be a part of our family. We left our doors open. And my family taught me to just trust everyone.
Yeah.
And as a 7-year-old kid, I trusted two individuals who ended up raping me at the age of 7, and it just changed my life forever at that point. And it was like, when I think about it now, I have the story of victory only because I decided to meet people like you that shared their journey, that have empowered me to do the kind of work I do today.
Well, I know you're doing incredible work, and when you talk about it, it's really interesting, because I know that we do have a movement for men now that are talking about sexual abuse. That normally that's not common. It took a while for we just have that movement. Can you talk a little bit about that movement and how difficult, or if there was any kind of difficulties with you finding other men to to kind of network with this?
Right. Definitely. And I can tell you, early on, I was taught, well, you don't talk about it because men aren't sexually abused, and if they are, it actually speaks to their sexual orientation. And in fact, that's not the case.
Right.
Sexual abuse is about a perpetrator taking power over an individual. And I remember being in college, I was at Morgan studying social work, and I shared my experience. And a couple of the students who were going to be social workers actually said, well, you shouldn't share that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was thinking, well, luckily I was in recovery, and I knew enough to know that what isn't spoken can't be healed.
Exactly.
And it took years before I actually met men. Actually, it was through NASPID, the National Association of Mental Health Program Directors, that pulled us together with SAMHSA, a couple men together. And that's where I first met a group of men who had a history of trauma, that were verbalizing what they had experienced and how they were moving through the recovery process. Prior to that, I really didn't vocalize my spiritual wound, and I don't remember meeting other men that shared that either.
Yeah.
So to be in 2018 and to know that I can contact men all over the United States that have this history of healing is just amazing. I'm also a part of the Bristol Cone Project, which is part of 1 in 6, and it is a work done by David Lasik, Dr. Lasik, who went around the country, to some extent is going around the world taking photos of men who had these histories of sexual abuse.
Oh, wow.
And that was really amazing too, to think that, around the world, there are men like me that may not know about recovery and may not know that they can heal from what has been done to them.
Absolutely. And that's great. I never heard of the project before. I'd really like to hear more about that project. And I'm so glad that you're a part of it, because I know who you are personally and professionally. And I know there's nothing that anybody that can have the chance to be around you, they're going to get so much. And I am just grateful for your light. But then what I like to ask is, from, of course, the sexual abuse, was there anything that went on afterwards that you felt like that you didn't deal with on your own in a way, maybe substance abuse or anything like that? Because that is common with my story, and so many others.
Right. Well, and the one thing that happened after the sexual abuse, and it started when I was in second grade. But one of the impacts of that was I didn't know that then, but I became very hyperactive. Mm-hmm. And I would have periods of dissociation where I could be in class, but I wasn't able to focus on the lesson. Uh-huh. And as a result of that, they labeled me learning disabled.
Yep, that's common.
And actually they held me back a grade in second grade, and then that fed into my classmates. We didn't call it bullying back then, but it led to my classmates like making fun of me and telling me that I was stupid. And that impacted my self-esteem to the point where I actually began to believe that there was something wrong with me. On top of the sexual abuse, now you have this learning disability, and you're being held back. And I really didn't have any escape in that at that time. I didn't have any behaviors that I could use to manage or cope with the things that I was experiencing in a healthy way.
Yeah, in a healthy way.
So eventually, when I got to ninth grade, I was introduced to alcohol. And alcohol seemed like the perfect, what's the word? The perfect way of dealing with all of my symptoms.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was that alcohol was going to take me down this road to alcoholism and addiction, and just years of substance use. Ended up making it to college barely at Howard University, and was introduced to other substances there. And within roughly about 6 months to a year, I was homeless on the streets of D.C. after having been given a scholarship to go to Howard University. But the other part of that was I lost the ability to, if I ever had it, to know people who live in the light and people who live in the dark.
Yeah,
and that's the best way I know how to put it. I couldn't tell people that would harm me from people that wouldn't. I got involved with some people that were into some pretty dangerous things.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common. Yep, that's pretty. For just goes to show it's not gender specific, right?
Right, exactly. And people will frequently say, "Well, why didn't you know that they weren't good people?" Because when you've been traumatized, your brain it becomes hyper vigilant, but it doesn't necessarily tune into the right things. And for some of us, like, I'm going to save everybody.
Right. Yeah.
So even if you're harming me, I just know that if I love you, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that, and then there's some boundary issues that I needed to learn in the recovery process.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were speaking, it triggered a memory of mine, because you're right. I mean, you just end up in that world where you don't know. You can't distinguish the difference. Even when it is bad, you don't know it's really that bad. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, it just becomes so normal, where it's not even anything that's you think that's terrible or bad. It's just the way that it is. That's the way our thought process begin to react to things like that. Well, he hit me, he beat me, because it's just, that's how it is. I do things, I say things I shouldn't say. That was for me, not just end up in very dangerous situations where for me it was like, well, it's just the way that it is.
And I didn't have the ability to have the discernment. I didn't have that. And luckily today I pick up on it a little bit easier. Yeah. I'm still very trusting of people, but I have that ability to go, well, wait a minute, David, you need to have some boundaries here.
Yeah. Well, you rethink it now. So you have to say that's what you have to do because everybody's not for you, you know.
No. And I love when you said earlier about the vine, and that I need to constantly be in contact with God and the Holy Spirit to know what I need to be doing next. Because I really, if I get into me, I think everybody is entitled to be in my space. And I know that's not necessarily true all the time.
Exactly. And it's not, it's one of those things where I always tell people, where God is taking us, sometimes some people just can't go. It's just not meant. Yeah. The saying, everybody has a season in your life. Some people are there for life and some people are just for a season. You know what I mean? And but like you said, when you stay connected to the vine, when you remain in the vine and be connected to, Christ Jesus and allow the Spirit to do what God sent the Spirit to do, you know what I mean? He will lead us and he gives us that, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. And sometimes God got to smack us upside our head, you know what I mean? Because, we're still trying to make it fit. We got the puzzle piece don't fit. You know how you had the old puzzle when you were young? You still trying to make that piece fit,
It's going to make it work. It's going to work. It's going to work.
You're going to make it work, but it never works because it's not meant to work. And then sometimes that's when we just have to throw our hands up and say, have your way, Lord. Just have your way.
Yeah. So I'm actually,
go ahead.
Sorry. I'm actually doing some new work. Not only do trauma-informed care, but I'm switched a little bit of career movement last March, and I do harm reduction services. So I'm working with the opioid overdose and looking at doing outreach work in the community. So we actually am now on the street once a week at night.
Oh wow, Dave!
Carrying a message of hope, and
yes,
it's amazing. I would have never thought that's where I'd be, but
God has His way, right?
Yes, and I love it. I think that's what I was created to. Well, I know I was created to be a service.
Yeah. You were created with a specific purpose, and all that purposes have to do with serving God. I always tell people that God has given us many gifts, but our gifts are connected to our purpose. It is. He didn't give us our gift just because He wanted us to be able to sing nice and to be able to write nicely, or just to be an organizer and things, a leader and things like that. Our gifts definitely are our segue into our purpose. That's interesting that you are working in the streets because you are still in Hagerstown area.
Yeah.
Because I know West Virginia right now. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, every state has their cities where they have more of the opium overdose, but I know West Virginia is like drowning in it right now. I mean, you're very close to West Virginia. I'm pretty sure you have yours.
Yeah. Part of why we were able to get the funding is that I'm on the West Virginia line. I'm in the area called the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
So I'm 5 minutes from West Virginia and 5 minutes from Pennsylvania. And when the CDC did a study looking at possible HIV or hepatitis outbreaks, West Virginia was one of the top 10 places that could possibly have an issue with HIV and hepatitis. So we were able to get funding and able to do this outreach and do syringe services.
Oh, okay.
And what I love about harm reduction, even though it doesn't say it specifically, it is about loving people unconditionally and meeting them right where they're at.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is what trauma-informed care is about.
Absolutely.
It's about us, telling you this is what you have to do. It's about asking you, how can we help you do what you want to do?
Absolutely.
And that just fits for me perfectly into my purpose into trauma-informed care and working with individuals that come in, that we're fortunate to get to work with, that come into our program.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. And so your program is it an outpatient? How do people be able to, even the people that's outside the area? Because I know that Winchester is very close, and I have an office in Winchester for my nonprofit, and I know the people that come through my partner's mental health facility, and could really use some services. So do you take other people other than just in your area, surrounding area? You said you're on the West Virginia line.
Right. So what we do is we don't deny services because we're a state-run program. Right. We don't deny services to anyone. However, Berkeley County does have a harm reduction program right in Martinsburg.
Okay, yeah.
They can have access to them. But again, we operate in Washington County. I'm at work 5 days a week. Also, I can give you my number if anyone wanted to reach us.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it possible that you can get the number out now so people can have that number?
Sure. It's 240-313-3385.
One more time, just in case somebody had a moment to go get a pencil or a pen.
Sure. Yep. 240-313-3385.
And we'll make sure that it gets in the comments of the Facebook Live, because this is also live on Facebook. But we'll make sure that we'll get that number up there. And so, David, if someone wants to contact you to know more about what you're doing and even some of the trauma work that you've done, because I know that you were able to help a lot of people that were incarcerated with the TAMARS program. And I just think that if people can just understand that even in a setting like corrections, that a program, a trauma group can happen, a trauma-informed care setting can happen, even in prison. But I think sometimes we think, well, it's prison, people are going to come and people, nobody's going to sit there and talk about this or talk about that. But I know that you, for 10 years was doing the program, the TAMARS program?
17.
Oh, 17. Oh, you don't even use the Healing because Healing only been out for.
So I was like, I actually have 18 years of working with the same agency, and I was like, okay, so you did 17 years in jail.
Yes, you did time. You did time in jail. Oh my goodness! And I remember coming down speaking to a group of ladies with you, and and I know that the impact that you've had on a lot of persons that had been incarcerated. And so I think that it's important just for people to even understand that it can happen, those type of really impactful group settings and talking about people trauma. And, of course, we don't suggest that anybody, facilitate these groups unless they can really be prepared for people's answer and have to be in a place. But I just like the fact that the settings did have for 18 years. You was doing this in prison in the jail in Hagerstown. So I want people to be able, if it's okay with you, to contact you. Not so much about, okay, send me the TAMAR program or nothing like that, but just to get some insight. Like, yes, it can happen, and this is some of the results.
Okay. Yeah, because I tell you, when I was working for Johns Hopkins Hospital and they offered me the job, they didn't tell me that it was going to be in a detention center. I was like, oh, you got me because I left Baltimore and moved to Hagerstown for this job, not knowing that. But again, God knows exactly what
He knows. Yep.
And it changed my life. And when I came here to do trauma work, initially, the TAMAR program was set up for women. Yeah. So even though we offered it as a male group and a female group, initially the women were signing up at a higher ratio than the men were. Mm-hmm. But over the course of the 17 years, we had more men engaged in trauma treatment than we had women.
Wow.
And people were clamoring, like, how can I get in? Yeah. And we had offered a closed-ended group, so people would have to wait.
Yeah.
But what we found was that there were as many men as women that had and the word I like to use is spiritual wounds. Because for men, sometimes that word trauma has a little bit of a stigma to it.
Yeah.
And when I changed and started talking about spiritual wounding, we had even more men signing up to get into the program. Excuse me. And what we did was talk about what is trauma, how does it impact a person's life, and then towards the end, how might it have impacted your life? And what I loved about Tamar is you never have to disclose your traumas in the group, never. And that makes it that makes it pretty safe.
Yeah.
And my dream was that every detention center and every jail and every prison would have a Tamar program offered to individuals that are incarcerated. And I've been pretty saddened that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the men and the women on the street, and they tell me how that program changed their lives, that it gave them a different outview, that no matter what decisions they make, they are now making the decision as opposed to just walking through life in the darkness. Yeah. And I frequently say Tamar is the light switch.
Yeah. Yep. I know. Here I am. Here I am. And you're right.
Why can't we offer that to every man and woman?
Everybody.
There? Yeah.
Right. And I know that it ended up in about maybe nine counties, maybe in Maryland, out of the 11 counties. Remember hearing that it did make it into at least nine counties. But what's interesting is that it didn't, because like you said, it made such a difference. But I think what happens is everybody starts to switch their thought around making the facility or the program trauma informed, and not thinking that this is a piece of that needs to go with it. You know what I mean? They're all about, okay, let's get our staff trained. Let's get our environment trauma informed. But they didn't realize that you really want to bring a trauma informed group setting. So they and I tell you, I work in every state in our country, and you still don't see a lot of push with even trauma treatment, really, or a trauma group setting. It's all about training on how to treat people. I'm like, you should need to be trained on that.
And the other scary part is that there are people that say that they're trauma therapists or trauma counselors.
Yes.
And yet when I talk to the individuals that they've worked with, I don't hear some of the basic things
that you should hear.
No big push to do co-occurring.
Yeah.
Yet you have people siloed. They're still doing substance use treatment and mental health treatment.
Yeah.
We'll give you an assessment for one, and we'll give you an assessment for another. I don't hear a lot of it's one complete assessment, of which includes a thorough trauma evaluation. Look at the age that it occurred, what may have been the consequences. So I still think there's a lot of work to do. We're so much further ahead, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Oh, absolutely. And just a lot of people that they're trauma informed, and then I spend a whole day in a facility, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And I know, like you said, people are trying to work. I think what's happening is a lot of the funding is coming out. A lot of RFPs are coming out saying that you have to, have some kind of trauma-informed care component, or some kind of treatment or program around trauma. And people are just saying that they are to get the funding, because, SAMHSA, most of SAMHSA funding is about trauma, Right. And so I think people are just looking at how to quickly become trauma-informed for funding reasons, and they don't really realize the impact. However, it is a great push, and it is a lot different than what it used to be, and SAMHSA. Go ahead.
As an addiction counselor, I remember when I started in the field in '89, and we used to tell people to wait 5 years, deal with any abuse issues that they had from childhood.
Wow.
And I've often grieved over that, and thinking how many people did I play a part in their demise because I was saying you need to wait 5 years to do that type of work. And even in my recovery, I'm so glad that 6 months into my recovery process, I went to a program in Florida called Horizon Water.
Yeah.
And they did trauma treatment. That they focused on. And even there was only 6 people in the whole program.
Yeah.
But we had a little separate unit for those of us that had sexual abuse, and then they had a whole unit for those who had substance use issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we've come a long way.
Yeah.
We've got 1,000 more miles to go.
Yeah, we have many more miles to go, and hopefully we'll get it together as a nation when it comes to our public health systems and our systems of care, because it's like the world has gotten so much darker, and people are really dying, and it's our youth. Our youth are dying very young, and we really need, because people don't even want to try to get help because, we just haven't been able to find a way to really help people. And trauma-informed care is the way. You know what I mean? I know it for me and for many other people. You and everybody, we all know that the difference that from having trauma treatment and being in a trauma-informed care program, a program to understand what happened to you, say what's wrong with you. But you're right. It's definitely changed. I'm grateful for SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Anyone in the audience that wants to find out more about SAMHSA is SAMHSA.gov. It's SAMHSA. SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, and .gov. So, and you can find out a lot. The national, or you could just Google the National Center for Trauma-Informed Care, NCTIC, because that's the center that does a lot of the trauma-informed care trainings, and a lot of the trauma-informed care literature comes out of NCTIC, the National Center for Trauma-Informed Care, which I worked for. I was a team leader for 5 years, and David consulted and worked with, and did a lot of the PAMAR and a lot of the trauma things, the work that we were able to do under that umbrella. I'm very grateful for that. So, David, before you go, I just wanted to ask, do you speak at conferences? Will you come to conferences or come to facilities to tell your story in a way where it's, a little bit of your story, but a lot of the professionalism, the professional life, that do you kind of merge the two? I was just wondering, because I know that a lot of people are always looking for great speakers. And I think that your story, you have been on both sides now. I know that it is, you appear to those that have been and those that are providing services. So that's like the double whammy.
Okay. I am willing to go anywhere and speak to anyone at any time.
Okay.
This really is, to me, this is like missionary work for me.
Yes.
And I really will go anywhere, anytime, and talk. If it's to talk to one person,
yeah.
To me, this is what I was born to do.
Yeah. But how can people contact you to get you to come and fire up their staff or inspire and give hope to their clients?
So you can reach me through my Hotmail address, and it's dwashington, D as in David, Washington, number 365 at hotmail.com.
Okay, one more time, please.
So dwashington 365 at hotmail.com.
Okay. Also, we'll make sure that we get that in the comments on Facebook. So just in case anybody driving and weren't able to write that down, we want to make sure that we have the contact information for David. And so David, tell us, we want you to give us something, give us a shot of hope, give us some words that we can think about as we finish our evening. What do you have to say to the audience? And you can say anything in your last words on the show. Not your last words in life, but your last words.
I was say, I was like, wait a minute. You know something I don't know? Well, you do. I know you do. I tell you, I was reading Henry Nouwen, who is an author and a religious figure, and he has a book called The Life of the Beloved.
Okay.
And that has touched my heart in this recovery process because Jesus said, God said, you are my beloved. And in spite of everything that I've been through, he said, you're my beloved and I love you just as you are.
Yes.
And I want to be that face here on this planet of the beloved.
Yes.
And we can all do that. We can all do that every day, to be kind and loving and generous to everyone that we have contact with. And one thing I share with people, and maybe this is it, I want to treat you as if I'll never see you again. And I want you to know that you are loved unconditionally if I never see you again. And that's my message.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's funny, you said that because when I was in Little Rock for the tour this weekend, I was speaking Sunday morning. When I was giving the word, I spoke about John 15:8, what we just talked about. And Doreen, who tours with me, she's a songstress, and she's ministering songs. She tours with me. She said that the other is another version of this actual scripture where the end of it don't say, but you must remain in the vine. It said you must remain in my love. And I love that. You know what I mean? So when you were saying that, I told her, I said, look, I have to have this CEB version. Mine said King James. Mine ain't nothing here. Hebrews or nothing. I need to be able to understand what God was saying. I need to bring it down a little bit, okay? I need to bring it down to my level. And thank God that somebody somewhere in the world was like, okay, let us come up with another version, because there's a Tanir out there that needs to be able to read and understand the word of God. I need to bring it like it is for her. And but I love both verses. God has made so many promises to us, David. He has, and he has never, I've read nothing. And in the Bible, where I know that we have our commandments and we're supposed to keep things, but I've never heard in the Word of God, and I read the Bible all the time, where he said, you must promise me. He gives out a lot of promises to us, but he has never asked us to promise him anything. And I say that to say, he knows who we are. He knew all the mistakes that we will make. That's why he gave his only begotten son, to take on our sins so we may have life and eternally, and be saved and spend, our forever with him, with our Father in heaven. And I just love that. But one of the things that I think we miss sometimes, because we have to trust with all our hearts. 2 Peter 3:9, some verses I've just been studying and working with. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some count slackness, but is long suffering towards us. That means he understands how we mess up all the time. He's not slack in what he promised us, and he understands he's long suffering. I mean, he doesn't easily give up. He's not going to easily stop. He's not going to stop. He can't stop loving us because he is love. When he is love, how can God stop loving when he is love? And I love that, and I tell people all the time, he loves us desperately. Desperately. And I am so grateful for that. And you said something earlier that made me think of 2 Corinthians 12:9. The Lord said, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And those times where we don't know where we should go and what we should do and who we should go with, he will strengthen us in our weak ways, in the way our weak thoughts and things like that. His word says the word can't be just scripture can't be broken. And he says that he gives us so much love in his word. He does. And he's there for us. It doesn't matter what we did in life, what we're doing in life, and what we will do. You know, I always tell people there's nothing you can do to earn God's love, so there's nothing you can do to stop God's love. And for that, I am grateful because he loved a wretched sinner like me. You know, a filthy, dirty and but you know the great thing about his love and those that he calls for his work, he knew that one day we will be obedient. through all the hiding and all the trying to self-medicate and not deal with the world and all the darkness we have walked in and has been surrounded by. He knew that one day we will be a light that would not hide underneath a bush. He knew that we would be a light that was not willing to hide it and was going to spread it. And thank God for you, David. I thank God for you. I thank God for the work that you're doing, and I will continue to lift you up in prayer. I always pray for people. I wrap my scarf around my neck, and I will pray as you continue to go out and work with the communities that God goes before you to prepare the way and prepare the hearts of others to receive you and bless your ministry and anoint your mouth, your hands, your feet, and so all that you do will be for the glory of God. God bless you, brother, and I'm so grateful for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, up next, we are going to go over my schedule, and Lisa's not on the call yet, so I guess she's maybe still on vacation. So I'm going to talk about my schedule I have myself. So next week, I'm in Philadelphia tomorrow. Tuesday, I'll be in Pueblo, Colorado on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'll be in Concord, North Carolina. Friday, I'll be in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky in the morning. And then I have to get from there to get to Miami at night. I'll be in Miami Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and I'll be there for the whole weekend. So if anybody in any of these cities, reach out. You know, I like to have coffee with people and meet up with people. But in Miami, I'll be there for 3 days. I'm going to be at a gala, and we should have some information on the website about that, my website. And then there's a golf tournament that I'll be speaking at. It's a charity golf tournament. And then Sunday, I'll be giving a word at the church. So all that information, all the location, you reach out to our online, needscare.org, TaniraKane.com, and find out everything and where we're going to be. Also, let's talk about some of the Needs Care events coming up. June 23rd, we're having our first annual Me Too event. This event is for girls in grades 1st through 5th grade. And we're going to be doing a workshop. We're going to spend a day with some girls from 1st to 5th grade. And it's not only, it's not about anti-bullying only, but it's also bullying and awareness, because what we know is this: most kids are impacted by bullying when they get to middle school. So if we can start to do these workshops to help girls to understand what is a friend and what's not a friend, and you know, when people do bully you and when people say really mean things to you, that is not, has nothing to do with you. It's who they are, and you know, you tell somebody and, you know, and talk about it. So we have in our first Me Too, Me a Friend event for girls is June 23rd in Annapolis, Maryland. You can go on our website. I think my hubby, Adrian's going to make sure that that gets up. But if not, we can, you go to our Facebook pages and you can get the information. We're only going to have 50 girls, only 50 girls for this first one. And we've also been having some registration. So if you want people to register, you can go to our Facebook page to get the link, or our website to get the link to register. This is a free event. Every event that Need Care does for the community is always, always free. So we will spend the majority of the afternoon with them, mid-morning to afternoon. We're going to be in lunch. We're going to do some dainty things. We're going to be ladies. Each girl will get a doll, and each girl will be able to make jewelry for another friend that they'll meet at the workshop. So again, and we'll have a workshop around, again, anti-bullying and bullying awareness, and just have fun. The girls going to dress the girls up, take some pictures, and have some really good time. Great food. We're going to feed them and everything. So please register your kids, because we'll be running out of slots, and we really want to get your girls. And if you're in Annapolis and Arundel County, Georgia County, all the areas, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, all the surrounding areas, Eastern Shore, where if you can get your first to fifth grader there, register. And again, we already got registration done. Adrian, July 1st, right? July 1st is our baseball camp. This is our, we do basketball and football every year, but this is our first baseball camp. And we are excited because we have a former Yankees player that's going to come in and hang out with our kids. And we're really going to have a great time, because we are the beautiful baseball diamond that we were given by the city of Annapolis to do this. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have food. As always, we always feed people, and we always invite the parents that comes, because while they working with the coaches and the trainers, and we will be working, me and a group of women or men will be hanging out with the parents on the sideline. So we're very excited about that. That is July 1st in Annapolis at the Pitt Moyer Center. Adrian, do we have a limit on kids ages? No. So we don't pursue. We have an update in ages. Will we have an age limit? Agent said we're probably going to have an age limit, but yes, not come up with an age limit. That's my husband. But so he's working on that. I guess he's working with the trainers and the coaches to find out what age. What usually is what, 6 to 16? Yeah. So 6 to 16. And I think with this, we may not limit it to 100 kids like we usually do. We may be able to have more age. Well, yeah, well, no. So, yes, as far as I know, that they just want to make sure that their kids involved. As far, yeah. So, I'm excited about that. And then we are looking to August 18th, maybe, for our football camp. And we have a former Jets player that's going to come out. And, excuse me? In the Navy Academy, of course. And so, those are camps coming up. Also, I can't forget, our third annual National Healing Need Trauma Informed Care Conference is in Detroit this year. Yay, Detroit. It is October 19th through the 21st in Detroit at the Marriott Hotel. Information is on the website. We have a bunch of people that already registered. Go and register now, because there are limited spots this year. So if you want to come to our conference, we're in Detroit, Michigan this year from October 19th through the 21st. You can register on our website, teneerkane.com or needscare.org. Register, because spots are just being taken up, because Michigan Department of Corrections is sending all their people and all of the reentry folks as well. Also, we have a pre-conference training on the 18th, and it's going to be more of a trauma-informed care intensive training for all day long, a 6-hour training. So that is a separate registration, but we are going to do that, and we have an even smaller group that we're going to be able to allow to come to that. And not to mention our second gala charity event for Needs Care will be at the hotel. We are looking at different entertainers, because last year we had I saw. This year we're looking at another, maybe Howard Hewitt or somebody like that. I don't know. I can't say. We're just looking. We're considering some. So anybody go on Facebook and tell me who you want to hear, and we can see if we can make that happen, okay? But some names been thrown out, and but we haven't decided. But again, so that is the conference, the pre-training conference, and the full three-day conference, and then the gala, the black tie gala, where we dress up and act all cute, you know. So that's all that's going on with, I believe, means here. Anything else? Did I miss anything? If Lisa is not on right now. Africa trip. Well, yeah, I'm going to. All of our prayer warriors pray for me. I'll be in Nigeria in July, the first week of August, and I go to Tanzania the last week of August to September. And so please keep me lifted up in prayer as I go where God tells me to go. I will not be a Jonah. And so I'll go and I will do as God has directed me to go. We have, and there's so many other things going on right now, but we keep everybody updated. Those are the things that's coming up that you need to register for if you want to come to any of our camps. If you, the Me Too for girls, ages 1st to 5th. Get your girls to register. Everything is always free except the conference. That's not free, okay? But everybody else, everything we do for the community, there's nothing that we do for the community that we charge. We never charge anything, even if we have to pay for it out of our own household expense. We want to engage with the community with no issues. We don't want them to worry about money. We even had found transportation as well. And so get registered for the camps. I think Adrian's going to update and get we need the baseball and the football registration, but you can register right now for Me Too, and of course for the conference. And anybody that may miss where I'll be in the next for the year so far, my schedule is online right now at meanscare.org. So I'll go end the show by saying that remember, God loves you. I love you. And we are lights. We are lights in this very, very dark world. And we are not only servants of our Lord and our Savior. We're out there doing something. We have a mission in life. We have a purpose in life. But don't forget that you are a child of God. You are a child of the Most High. And when you're a child of the Most High, there's nothing you can do because the Holy Spirit will guide you and lead you. So stay connected. Remain in the vine and produce your fruit. I want to thank my network, radio network, 108Praise Radio. And, please like our Facebook pages and remember that there's a lot of different wonderful shows that come on all day long. You could just go to the Facebook page sometimes, just see what's going on live, and just know that it's a lot of great hosts, and they're bringing great messages and for almost everything you can think about. So I'm very grateful for 108Praise Radio for this platform. Thankful for my team, the Means Care team, and my executive assistant Lisa, and my husband who does everything with me and for me. And last but certainly not least, always first, I want to give God all the honor, glory, and praise, because without God, I would not be here today to even beyond to have this show or do anything else. It's Him and me that is allowing me to do this, and I am nothing without Him. God bless you. May you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.